All right, welcome. This is the first edition of what we're gonna call the Balsam Podcast.
Yep.
Um, I'm Justin,
I'm Roderick.
and I guess we'll just get started. We're just gonna jump right in. So, what was the topic we were gonna bring to the viewers' attention today?
I guess we'll just start off with something that was recently on my mind. Why do rednecks get so much hate?
Yeah, I thought that was like an interesting question because with any topic like that, I think it all depends on like how you define a redneck. Like, I don't know, like for me personally, I would say a redneck is something kind of negative. Whereas other people might say, okay, a redneck is some like southern person who, likes to like drink beer and like listen to country music or this or that, just like different stereotypes. I would view it as somebody who, yeah, may be some of those things, but like they're just an awful person who is unlikable. Like they're just, a dick about their ways. Like, I don't know, like they're just really stupid or ignorant or just, I don't know, just an obnoxious person in general because of their like redneckish ways. And I guess like when you bring that up, you have to ask someone like, redneck hate. Like, what do you consider a redneck? And that's why I'll ask you, like, what would you consider a redneck? Like,
I mean, kind of like what you said, like country accent, most likely in the South. Kind of like what you said, drinks beer, listens to country music. That's kind of how I always saw it. I feel like the negative stuff that you brought up is just like the automatic view of like what any of them are.
yeah.
I guess like my perspective is a bit different because I always got along fine with like more redneckish people growing up. But like, and I know they also have like the stereotype that they're like all racist and whatnot.
Yeah, and I feel like that's probably where some of the hate will come from, is just like people viewing them as something like that, like something like racist. Like, I feel like that can come up a lot, and it's, the kind of thing I've seen because people view, and maybe I know what you're saying, because for me, I view rednecks as a negative term, as in, like, rednecks are, like a certain type of southern people who are bad people. That's kind of how I would view it. But I guess I kind of see what you're saying about, like, them getting hate in the sense that maybe there's this southern person who has certain character traits that may be assumed to be a redneck or like perceived as that, and then automatically viewed negatively by people just because of certain traits. And I guess that could be part of what, why do rednecks get so much hate comes in.
Yeah, there's that, and I don't know, just some of a good bit of the people that I've met that I would say like I could describe them as like a more of a redneck type, but still decent people.
Yeah.
I guess people like see people with their camo on and like their large trucks and their dip and whatnot, and then just automatically get irritated, like, oh, they're redneck, they're probably racists and
probably
dumb.
Like Trump supporters and want all the Mexicans to go to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see. I definitely have seen, like, whether it's like in a joking fashion or not, just like that definitely being a stereotype for, I guess, like country people, like just that they gotta be this, and this, and if they're this, they gotta be this, and if they're this, oh, they're this, and that's bad, and I don't like that, so get out of here, even though I don't know you yet. But I think the thing also about that, which you can definitely attest to, is there's relatable or at least like similar topics and similar comparisons in other groups of people that you could say this group might get a certain amount of hate because of a perception of a certain, I guess, part of their group.
Which, that isn't good either, but I guess when people do have that type of view, it's looked at more as, like, immoral. Whereas, like, I feel like with the Rednecks, it'll be more of an accepted thing. I don't know. But I guess my view is, like, if those are bad, then I feel like judging this other group of people as bad as isn't really too far.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't too different.
At the end of the day, I think if somebody's just sitting there saying, like, I don't like rednecks and, you know, this and that, it's kind of just a form of stereotyping.
Maybe that's part of why country music gets so much hate. Like,
I don't doubt it, you know, because I think there are a few reasons why country music gets a lot of hate. But one of them I think definitely is just like a negative view on like people who listen to it or maybe even like people who make it. It's like, oh, you know, this is negative stereotype person. I'm going to stay away. And this is just me, and I could be completely wrong about this, but another reason I just feel like country music gets a bad reputation is just like, there's definitely like some like brands of country that get like mixed into the pop music of today.
Yeah.
That is just the trashiest shit you've ever heard in your life, and I'm like, I sure hope you people don't think that's what country music is, because it's not that at all.
Yeah. I know what you mean there. But there's definitely some old classics with country.
Classic country is fantastic, and it's just as good as any other genre, really. Like, but
and then there's like even some bands that aren't even like country, but I guess the vocalist
sound country or something.
The vocalist, like, it's definitely like a hard rock style, but the vocalist sounds southern, so then it gets hate. I guess that's kind of what happened with Nickelback. But
yeah, well, never really thought of that at all, honestly.
I know the Nickelback thing is supposed to be like a meme as well.
They like consider him like country sounding or something.
Yeah.
I guess I never really considered why it was so much of a meme.
I feel like that would be why. I can't think of any other reason.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it either. That's interesting, because, you know, really not that terrible or anything. But anyway, yeah, like, definitely I think there is a certain propensity to, like, hear a country accent or maybe even certain terms or things that like country songs may reference or something like that just kind of trigger something in people's minds that's like, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like what do you think about that? Just like the idea that people are basically hating on an idea they have about you know, maybe like the views of certain people who are Southern, like when they're listening to certain music. Like, how do you feel about that?
Like feel about negative views towards Southern people?
Yeah, like negative views towards Southern people, or like country music because of their views of Southern people. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I find it to be a bit ridiculous and kind of hypocritical, because I know they would hate it if like it were the other way around.
Yeah, right. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, it is definitely a form of stereotyping, and negative stereotyping at that. If there is even such a thing as positive stereotyping, which I guess there technically could be, but
yeah, I know there are some stereotypes that they're like stereotypes that are looked at as positive, but then they can still get annoying. Like, I know if I was Asian, I would hate it.
You're like good at math or something.
I would hate it if people were just like, oh, you're not good at math, well, you're Asian. You're supposed to be the most intelligent person in the world.
Or, well, I mean, I guess like on surface level, something like that could be seen as positive, but it is just kind of like
it's seen as positive, but I could see where it might be a little bit annoying.
It's annoying, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. It just be a big bother and kind of make somebody feel like, like why would you feel that way about like I don't know, like.
Or I guess in my case, like positive stereotypes for like black people would be like basketball or like being able to dance, which I'm not good at either of those. So like sometimes growing up they'd be like, oh, you're black, like are you supposed to be good at basketball or dancing? Like it's like positive stereotypes, but like if it's something a stereotype that you don't fit and people see that, then they like bring it up. It's kind of annoying.
I could definitely see that. It even irritates me when I hear it, and it's not even that much, but just like when there's like somebody who's like tall or whatever, and it's like, oh, he must play basketball.
Oh yeah, I guess that's like a tall man stereotype too.
That's I've seen that before, and it's just like it just bothers me, and I've probably seen it like a handful of times in my life because I'm average height, but like I've been around tall people or whatever.
Honestly, growing up, I guess you could say I kind of got similar to what Asians got because I grew up wearing glasses, and like there's like a glasses stereotype where like,
oh yeah, like you're like a nerd or something, like you're smart.
You wear glasses, so you're smart. And you're a huge nerd. So like if there was like a test that was like kind of hard that was coming up, they'd be like, oh, you got to help me with this. I'm just like,
gotta use your glasses powers to help me on my test.
They would come to me. It was something that I struggled more with. I'd just be like, I'm just trying to help myself. I can't really help you. They're just like, oh, you're supposed to be smart.
Like they would genuinely expect you to be able to help you.
Yeah, because like I wore glasses.
And that is definitely where I would say like positive stereotypes would go too far, is if it's when like you genuinely have like some expectation for someone.
Because I wear glasses.
Yeah.
I never understood it. I was just like, I just wear these so I can see. Like I'm not dumb or anything, but I'm not like high level genius that can help everyone on their tests.
Now, just going back to like the redneck thing for a minute. All right, just thinking about certain stereotypes or ideas I just have in my head. When I think of, maybe not necessarily like, oh, redneck, because like I said, I view that sort of negatively just as a term, but just think of like a southern family or something. When I think of that in my head, one thing that pops in is like, they probably have pretty good like family values and morals. You know.
Right.
And I don't know if that's really something a lot of people would think of, but for me, and I've grown up around some more traditional Southern families that, have been kind of more in my extended family and whatnot. Like I've seen it firsthand. Like, they're much more likely. The whole family's got to go to church, got to have like these religious views, and
right.
Sit down for dinner.
And they have Southern hospitality.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like Southern hospitality.
I mean, my family is similar.
It's just like friendliness and kindness, sort of, to anyone. Like it doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna be that way. Like that's kind of one thought in my head I do have of Southern people. And it's a really good one. I mean, it really is. And then maybe in the back of my mind, like some redneck would be somebody who's out like riding four-wheelers or something, and they're just like acting a fool and like drinking and riding four-wheelers in like their neighbor's yard and like tearing up the grass or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking like this crazy, wild.
And that's the thing. Like that's kind of what I mean. Like, I knew people that were like that, but I got along just fine with them. I don't know. I viewed some of that stuff as cool, I guess. Maybe that's not for everybody, but...
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, like, why do rednecks get a lot of hate? Like, I think at the end of the day, it's because, like, their necks are red, and, like, people are racist against their red people. Like, that's all it is.
You're susceptible to that hate today.
But no, seriously, it's just like redneck. I mean, it's because I think people. I don't think I would be the one to really answer that question, because I think like there are definitely people who have like this deep-seated hatred for that type of person that they have in their mind as like this Southern person for some reason. Whether it's like for political reasons or whatever. I mean, I don't really know what it would be like, but I think there's just like this deep-seated kind of like, I guess, sort of like hatred for them by some. I don't know, and I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, if I even want to like bring in the topic, like I feel like certain people may view it that way, just the way that some people may view more like, you know, thuggish black people. Like,
Yeah.
it really is like they have this idea in their mind, whereas somebody who, you know, is you know, a racist against blacks might be like, blacks are terrible because they're all thugs or something like that. Like, I feel like it's kind of a similar thing. To like, I see it that way. Just like, oh, I hate rednecks because of this, and it's like, really, you're just hating, you know, a group of people, which is really just, you know, I guess traditional Southern people, and it's like you're hating on them because of this idea you have as what they are. Or
Right.
what all of them are. Like, obviously, there's gonna be some people who are just trash people in every group you could imagine, and
Yeah.
they're gonna put a bad taste in somebody's mouth. But it's kind of up to the individual to be like, not everybody's like that. So, I think, yeah, I mean, I think people just fall victim to like stereotyping and viewing this large group as a certain thing, and that would be why rednecks get a lot of hate. But I feel like that's about all I'd have to say about that topic, honestly.
Yeah, there's not too much else to really say. I never found any of the ones that I've met to be bad people, and that doesn't mean that there aren't bad ones out there. It's just, I guess, I have a different perspective because of my experience.
Yeah. I grew up with people like that too. I mean, you know, they are generally nice people. Like I said, with decent values. So it's like, I feel like they always came across very friendly. So, you know, I don't really, you know, maybe certain people who have this, you know, I don't really want to say hate, but just have this like negativity toward them, just never really experienced that type of person as much as some people have, like growing up or whatever. Maybe they just weren't around that environment or that type of person. So I think that can come into play with a lot of prejudice that exists. I mean, it's just like you're just not really around that type of person a lot, like, and you kind of like get this idea of them that isn't really accurate, so you kind of start to feel a certain way about them.
What's your view on Tinder?
On Tinder? All right, yeah, let's go there.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I just saw that I got a new match with a 29-year-old.
29-year-old?
Yeah.
Dang, you're almost 30. Anyway, yeah, Tinder is interesting. I guess I would start by saying, like, there's not really much I could say about Tinder negatively because I have it and use it. Like, what can I really say? Like, it's there. I think like it's a nice thing to have. I think it's interesting to see, you know, attractive women on there, and you know,
Yeah, attractive.
and get to interact with the ones that you match with. I mean, it's kind of like a nice experience.
From 29-year-olds.
But like at the end of the day,
Sorry.
I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, at the end of the day, it really is just, or generally, like, I mean, people may use it for other reasons that are stupid, but like I think that it's obviously generally an app used for having sex. Like, you're trying to just like,
I never understand. I don't know that.
what?
I mean, I'm sure maybe some of them are being truthful, but I feel like a lot of the girls that go on there and say, like, swipe left if you're just trying to fuck, or like I'm not here to fuck or what. I don't know. I feel like some of them are lying. I don't know.
Well, they're obviously there to fuck at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, they're lying to themselves if they're like.
And I saw on Reddit one time where like some girl was like explaining what they meant by no hookups, and it was the most ridiculous thing to me. They were just like, when we say no hookups, we just mean that we're not gonna hook up the first time we meet. That we're just gonna like, we want to meet and hang out first, and then lead up to the hookup. I'm just like,
Well, that's still a
that's
hookup.
still a hookup. Like,
That's still definitely a hookup. Like, yeah, like I would say, yeah, Tinder is basically an app for. I mean, I wouldn't really say necessarily an app for hookups. I'd say it's an app for having sex with people. Like, you know, maybe you're gonna buy them dinner first, like go on a date, go on a couple dates. I don't know. Maybe actually try to have a relationship. That's fine. I mean, that would be more my speed anyway, to like try to actually have some sort of relationship with somebody. But, you know, if you see some people on there like, oh, I'm just looking for friends, no, you're not. Like,
yeah,
why are you on there?
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. Like, if you're looking for friends,
Then
like,
swipe right on everyone if you're looking for friends. Then.
yeah, because nobody else is. Like, you're not on Tinder to look for like a buddy. Like, that's not the point. Like, that's absolutely not the point.
Or like the people that are like, well, yeah, I'm in a relationship, but I'm just on here to look for friends. Like,
no. You know what they're doing. What they're doing is like they're trying to say that to like keep people's guard down or something. Like they're trying to like portray a certain image of themselves. All right, and maybe even like cover their bases a little bit. Like they're thinking, okay, maybe I want to like try to meet somebody, see if they're cool. Then I want to fuck them if I like them.
Exactly.
They're not. They don't mean it. They're trying to have sex.
Because if you're just looking for friends, then you don't care what anyone looks like because they're just a friend. So
Yeah.
you would swipe right on everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tinder's good for what it is, but I think, you know.
I prefer. It's fun to like. I find it fun to look at people, and like matching can be pretty fun and whatnot. But overall, I like the idea of just meeting people in person more.
Yeah, like if you're looking to have like a meaningful interaction with a human being, Tinder is not the place to go. Like if you're really desperate for just like some sex or something, and you just want to like swipe around, see what you find, like it's good. And it's good to just like look around and maybe just try to like chat a little bit with a stranger. I mean, I don't know, match with somebody, chat a little bit. I found that to be very interesting, and honestly, like a lot of what I've used Tinder for lately is like matching with people and just being like, you know, just kind of like testing out like, I don't know, conversation starters and stuff. Just like seeing kind of like what sticks and what doesn't. Like, oh, do people like it when I say this? Or, you know, does this strike the right tone with others? There've been a lot of people, a lot of girls who just like don't respond after certain things, and I'm like, okay, I'll mark that down. I'll mark that down as a no. You know what I mean? Like, I've used it a lot for just like seeing what, just kind of like putting myself out there and just seeing what people think of it, I guess. And I guess everybody's different, but it's just always interesting to see how people react to things. I don't know, just, there's certain times I've just like told terrible, like cheesy jokes just to see like what kind of person they are to like try to react to that. Like, that's always an interesting thing. Like, they'll either just be like, you know, they'll just like have some uninterested response or not respond, or sometimes they'll just kind of be like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Like, you know, I see, like basically like I see what you're doing there. Like I see you, and that's when you know like, okay, there's somebody that's kind of cool to talk to.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Tinder's very good for that. And in the chat, you know, just like chatting with people and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, like, I'm there to see if there's any girl I'm gonna want to have sex with. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
I didn't swipe right on any of them to like see if I could have a wholesome conversation. Like, that's not it.
A wholesome conversation and then fuck.
Yeah. wholesome fuck. Who's this? I don't eat animals. What's your view on, like, vegans?
Oh man. We were meant to be omnivores. No, but I don't really actually mind vegans. I just like joking on them just because I've seen funny memes, and I don't know, some of them I just view as like a joke. The ones that like try to force their diet plans on others. Especially after that video I saw of like some vegan activists like harassing two fishermen.
Oh, yeah, and they were like, put that fish back or something.
Yeah, and then they like actually, it was stealing. Like they took their fish and threw it back into the lake, and the two fishermen were like cool about it. Too, like not cool about the throwing it back, because I'm surprised he didn't like clean his clock for that. But up until then, they were just like, well, I respect your opinion, but
Get out of here, like, what are you doing?
yeah, he was just like, he was the activist, the main guy who was just like going on and on about how it's like the fish's life and whatnot, and then one of the fishermen was just like, well, I respect your opinion. And it's just like, we're allowed to do this.
Right, and basically, like, the guy who was, like, the vegan activist was probably just, like, in his mind, it was like, at all costs, I'm gonna get this person to think exactly like I do.
Exactly.
And that's just not really the point. Yeah, I don't know, like, I think, obviously people do whatever they want, it's fine, but I know what you're saying, like, and I've even seen things in the past, like, I guess vegan people, like, try to make, like, their pets eat vegan diets or something. Like, they'll be like, oh, like, my dog's a vegan.
Oh.
And it's like, you're just malnourishing your dog. Like, it need, like, your dog needs to eat some sort of meat. Like, I've seen that. It's ridiculous.
And, like, I get some people do it, like, for, everyone's body is different, everyone is different, and I get doing it for, like, health reasons, for yourself, personally, but I don't understand when people make it not a personal thing and want it, like, force it on everyone.
Like it goes from a thing that's a personal choice to something that's like, I want to revolutionize the world and, like, make everybody this. And it's like, no, we're kind of supposed to eat meat. And it's not like we have to, but we're kind of, like, that's kind of how we're designed as people. That's part of our diet.
Meant to be omnivores, meat.
Exactly.
And plants. Like, if they were trapped in the wilderness and had to fend for themselves and decided to go on a vegan diet, they would die.
Yeah.
They're not just gonna live off of plants. Like,
I mean, like, they care all about like, this animal suffering. Like, they ever think about, like, plant suffering?
I saw an argument that someone made, like, it was while she was defending, like, a tiger or whatever, like, well, tigers eat when they have to or something, like, we're different. She was like, made the argument like, oh, plants can't squirm away when you try to eat them or whatever. I'm just like, you're talking about a tiger, you'll be trying to squirm away while the tiger is trying to eat you if you came into contact with it. And I'm sure if a plant could move and try to squirm away, it would.
Yeah, I mean, like, plants are living things. Like, they obviously have certain survival instincts. They're sedentary, for the most part, they're like sedentary life forms, but, like, you know, they're designed to live and, you know, reproduce in whatever way they reproduce and, like, keep their species alive. Like, they're not just there to be killed. Like,
it's how the bees feed themselves, you know?
Yeah. See, now I feel like I'm just advocating for, like, plant rights or something. Now I just want to change the subject. But anyway.
I mean, plant rights do matter.
Plant lives matter.
they provide nice scenery.
They provide like our life form. They provide like, oxygen.
Exactly.
It's kind of very important, if not all important to us. But anyway, I feel like that's gone off on a tangent.
I feel like I don't know, it makes more sense to me when it's like I'm a vegan for like health reasons rather than just like
Well, yeah, I mean,
make people feel bad because they're eating animals.
well, I think anybody who makes anybody else feel bad for like reasons similar to that are just stupid. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another example. But just, I don't know. It's like everybody has their own thing. Like, some people have certain topics that they advocate for. Like, that's just something that they have close to their heart or whatever. Like, let's say somebody has, like, a strong advocation for, like, trying to free, like, child slaves in Indonesia or something like that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's fine. And that's good because that's a terrible, terrible thing that happens in the world. Like, I don't even know. Side note, I don't know like about Indonesia. Like, I'm not an expert on this subject. I'm just saying, like, I know there's child slavery somewhere out there, like in Asia or somewhere. And basically, what I'm saying is, it might be Africa. I can't remember, but
I think it was Africa.
Okay, Africa.
They're like making chocolate or something.
I'm gonna edit my previous statement and say African child slaves. And anyway, what I was gonna say with that is like somebody may have that as like a big part of what they're advocating for, like in their heart or something. But if somebody's over here saying like, man, I'm pretty upset that the person at McDonald's like got my sandwich wrong and they like put ketchup on it, I didn't order it, and you're just kind of upset about it, and they're like, well, there's child slaves in Africa, all right? And you're just like sitting there like, geez, like it's just a burger I paid for, like back off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like people have things they're like advocating for and care about, and that's great and fine, and it needs to be addressed by someone. But it's like, don't make people feel bad for not knowing everything you do or not feeling the same way you do about things. And
I mean, yeah, like that is like a positive way to look at it. Like, here's this small like annoyance to me, but like at least I'm like not like a child slave or like starving or anything. But like you can still be irritated about it. Like I asked them to not put ketchup on my burger.
Right. It's like
it's not anything like. I mean, like if they're like raging and flipping tables over it, then yeah, that's something different. But like if they just roll their eyes at it, then that's fine. Like they didn't do what you asked them to do.
Like I actually have a story for this. All right, this completely relates. We were on our family trip to Ireland last summer. It was like my grandparents got this trip for like the whole family to go. Me and my family, my cousin's family. Anyway, we were sitting in like the back of the bus, like on the tour bus. We were in Ireland, and my cousin and my sister are sitting in the back of the bus, and it was like hot on the bus. They didn't turn the AC on. It was hot. They're sitting in the back of the bus, and they're like, man, like it's hot back here. And they're kind of complaining a little bit. They're not like being obnoxious about it. They're just like, okay, it's hot. Like, is there AC? Like, there's obviously vents here. Like, can we turn the AC on? The bus driver, she's kind of a bitch. All right, we already knew this, but she just comes back, and she's just like, how do you think like. This isn't word for word. It was something like this. It was something like, how do you think the Jews felt during the Holocaust? No joke, that happened. And they're just sitting there like we just want you to like click the button that turns the AC on in this bus. Like, it's not that hard. And she's just like trying to ruin their day over wanting the AC on. It was ridiculous.
You gotta be kidding me.
It's like that kind of thing. Like, yeah, bad things happen all the time. They've happened in the past. They happen now. Like, bad things happen. But, like, you can't fault somebody for feeling discomfort at, a relatively small thing. You can't just like throw them under the bus and make them feel like a complete terrible person for that, because like everybody feels this way. Like everybody has these moments where they feel like, you know, inconvenienced by certain things in life, and sometimes you're just having a bad day, and little things maybe get to you more, or maybe it's just simple. You just want someone like, hey, you think you could turn the AC on? Like, it's not even a huge deal, but somebody's got to take it and like make it like, you're letting down generations and generations of revolutionary people just because you want the AC on in the bus. Like, it's absurd.
Like using that past tragedy to like, I feel like they're using that past incident basically just to tell the person to shut up.
That's exactly right. And it's deeper than shut up, because it's like, shut up and I'm going to make you feel a lot worse than you already do just by me saying shut up. Like, and I mean to be fair, usually I think the normal reaction to that is just like, okay, you're kind of a bitch. Like, what the heck's wrong with you? Like, okay. But they're trying to make the person feel bad. And not to say it's like a huge problem in our society. Like, this is not something that happens a lot, thank goodness. But it's like when it does, and like when people, make a big deal out of somebody just having a bad day or whatever, it's just really not a very kind thing to do. I don't know. It's just not a good look. And anyway, I got off. I feel like I got off on a rant there, but anyway, that was like a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, that doesn't even. Like,
no, it's stupid. But yeah, I mean, people.
I'm guessing she said it in like her Irish accent too.
She may have been actually like British or something. Like the way the tour guides worked, they're like from all over, and they like go all around the world and do like tours. I think she was actually British, but it doesn't really matter. She had an accent.
I'm just trying to picture like the accent, like saying.
Yeah, it was dumb. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the original topic was.
What we started with?
No. What led to
What? I guess it was because from
the
when
Indonesian kid.
Was it just from when I brought up vegans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think we've kind of. I mean, I don't think there's much more we can say without beating a dead horse with vegans. Honestly.
Yeah.
So I mean, what else? I mean, we started out by talking about how like why rednecks hated them. Like,
we've been talking about like groups of people, I guess.
Yeah, and just kind of like what they got going on.
Yeah, and we brought up Tinder too.
Oh yeah, like where can we go with that? Because I think that's an interesting conversation just to have about like why and how people use Tinder. Like or just anything like that. Like just where Tinder falls into like the kind of today's society, like where it falls. Because, obviously 100 years ago, you just had to talk to people if you wanted to fuck them. Like, now you just got to get on Tinder and like, I mean, obviously you got to like talk to them a little bit, but it's like you're messaging them, you don't even really know them, and then it's like you could basically hook up with somebody if you so desire. It's a little different, and I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and like be some old man who's like, oh man, kids these days don't have to communicate. They're just all like on their social media sites, and they're like, what's going on with the world. That's not really the point, but it's just kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting, like that. That's a thing a lot of people use. It's an app a lot of people use, and I personally have never used it to like actually have sex with someone like that. That's never really been my desire to do, honestly, like to just hook up and treat it that way. But obviously a lot of people I'm sure do use it for that, and it's I don't know, like what do you think about Tinder? Like what's your hard belief on Tinder?
It can be like a spontaneous and fun thing. Maybe match with that girl you've been seeing around campus who you didn't think you would get, but then you match with them.
Yeah, because it's like sometimes you'll see people and you're like, wait, I know that girl. Like she was like in this class or something, and she was here or there, and like, oh, I never, hey, and you just swipe her, and, swipe her, swiping, and then you
see that hot older woman and go
like
for it.
That 47-year-old woman.
Oh, that's how we got on top of vegan.
Yeah, because
with
that vegans.
Because that
oh, because she said she was
that woman that I showed you that I matched with. She's like 29, and at the end of her thing it said, "I don't eat animals."
Yeah. I don't know, like, I absolutely don't have a problem with people feeling that way, but the reason I have a problem with that is because obviously, if you're gonna put it on your bio like that, like, it's more than just, like, that's your thing. It's like you want people to know it, and you want people to care that they know it. Like, that you're gonna put it there. Like, I don't eat animals. It's not just like I'm a vegan or like vegetarian or whatever and I don't eat meat. It's not like that. It's like, I don't eat animals. You say it like that, you're basically saying like this is a bad thing to do. Like, I don't eat animals like other people who eat animals. Like, and you're also saying like I feel like it's a slightly less obvious way of saying, like, swipe left if you eat animals, basically.
And, like, the only reason I still would swipe right if I found them attractive was just because I just don't care. Like, I don't expect it to go anywhere. Like,
yeah, it doesn't really. I don't either.
I don't care about it going anywhere either. Like, I'd prefer to, like, go somewhere with, like,
someone you actually know.
Yeah, someone I know.
Someone you've met, someone you've had some time to interact with, someone who actually physically means something to you. Like, you've seen them and you know them and you've interacted and you've... Yeah, I get it. Like
I don't want to try to start something from Tinder.
No, like, I mean...
Unless the person I, like, matched with is someone I already, like, knew. And that's a bit different. But
obviously, like, every successful marriage, you ask them, it's like, it started on Tinder. Like, that's obvious.
I feel like in this upcoming generation that...
I mean, it'll probably... I mean, I'm sure there'll be quite a few cases of things like that, but... I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of the story behind Tinder is going to be like, we matched. We had sex. Never saw him again. Very well might be.
Yeah.
Though what do I know? I feel like I'm talking about a topic that I don't know a lot about. Or that I don't,
I feel like that's the main use for it. If something serious does happen from it, I mean, that's good for them. I just feel like that'll be, like, interesting, like...
It'd be kind of, like, ironic, really. Like,
yeah.
It'd be like meeting someone in church and then they're just like your fuck buddy or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, that's maybe not even a good analogy.
Then they're sinning.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's all I have to say about Tinder, to be honest with you.
We should talk about, like, dreams and metaphors.
We should.
Like, this one dream.
Uh-huh. Tell me more.
going over it earlier, you know, the thing with, like, I was, like, it was, like, in one part of the dream I was, like, on some type of building, like, up top, and then it's, like, there's this guy who appears in the dream, and I know him in real life, and I'm not too fond of him, and it's, like, I see him, and, like, I hope he doesn't see me, but then he does, and he, like, starts talking to me, and I don't really like it, but I still do. And then later on in the dream, like, I'm on a rooftop again, and I see him again. He, like, sees me. He's like, "Oh, hey, Roger." And it's, like, a casual conversation in a dream. And just, like, would this be, like, the dream's metaphor for me thinking subconsciously, do I view myself as above him?
Yeah, and, you know, what I would say, I think, about dream metaphors like that is that I think it's somewhat likely that that could be the case in that example, that maybe you do view yourself above him, and it's kind of like expressed in the dream that way. Or maybe it could be something completely different. Maybe it's just like, you know, you're just on a roof because your mind was like, I'm on a roof, and he was in there because your mind was like, oh yeah, there's this guy that I remember, and it's like, maybe to some degree dreams are just a random assortment of our subconscious just like putting stuff together. And, you know, obviously to a degree it's going to be stuff that's somewhat more relevant to us, because, like, there's going to be fresher stuff in our mind that will be more likely to be used, I guess. And, you know, if you see yourself physically above someone in a dream, it could mean that you view yourself, you know, above them, quote unquote, in real life. Or, you know, maybe it just means something completely different. Because, you know, dreams aren't a literary analysis. You know, we're not looking at a poem, or we're not looking at a story we're reading and saying, okay, you know, these are the metaphors. These are the similes that are used to compare this or that, or, you know, we can't analyze we can't analyze different you know, sentence structures and this and that. Like we can't analyze life the same way we can analyze literature or something like that. And I would say the same thing goes with dreams. I think it's more complex than that. I think it can be related just because our minds definitely do work in ways that, you know, like our subconscious will make connections like that in dreams, sure. But I think some dreams are just dreams, and we don't need to look that much further into them. But I think it's up to the individual to really look at a dream and decide, like, does this dream mean something? And if it does to you, I think that's good, and I think that matters to you. But I think when you bring anybody else into the equation, it just loses its meaning, because I don't think anybody else can really comment on what your subconscious tells you.
Yeah, that would make sense. It's just, I don't know. I guess maybe I thought of that metaphor because he's someone I don't like, and, like, his lifestyle is not something I would ever aspire to have, and something that maybe subconsciously I would view as, like, below me and how I live. Which never, it's not like I was just like walking around and, like, thinking to myself I'm, like, above him, but maybe subconsciously that could be how I felt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, I think dreams are just a really complicated thing. Like, I think, to me, like, the way I've always viewed dreams is, like, they're kind of like a peek into our subconscious.
Mhm.
Like, there's really no other way of really getting in there other than, like, recalling certain dreams. And I think sometimes what we see in there is weird and strange because we don't usually encounter that. And, you know, I've always just found dreams very fascinating because I think like the more you learn about dreams, like the more you can understand like people and like how we really function and how we really operate in our brains, because I feel like it just gives like a view into the other side of things that there's no other way to get to. It's dreams have always been very fascinating to me, whether, you know, no matter what they are.
Like we're both into meditating and such, and
Yeah.
I know meditation, there can be like ways where you like face yourself, but I feel like with dreams, like you face yourself and you really don't have a choice, like at all.
Yeah, no, you don't, because you're just sitting there experiencing it. And, you know, obviously, you know, most dreams you're not really going to wake up and remember. But the ones that you do, like...
There's like a certain stage where you do remember.
Yeah, I mean...
Or I guess like if you slip into that stage, you like remember it.
Dreams, I mean, they can just be wild, because... You can do things Well, first of all, you can do things that are physically impossible in your dreams. You can do things that you've never done in your life in your dreams. You can do things with people that you haven't done or experienced in your dreams. You can meet people that you've never met in your dreams. I mean, you know, there's the whole theory, like, everybody you see in your dream is like somebody you've really seen, but I mean, you know, that doesn't mean you've met them or know who the heck they are, so it doesn't really matter. But you can, I mean, really, there's really no limits other than like what your subconscious mind can process. That's really the limit to a dream. It's fascinating. And there's just so much you can do and experience, and I don't know, like I don't know, dreams can sometimes feel like experiences to a certain degree. Like, there's some dreams that are so vivid that I've had that, like, I feel like, not that it's really, like, on the same level as reality, but, like, it comes close. Like, it comes to a point where I kind of feel like, yeah, like, I've halfway kind of done that. Like, for example, like, just falling in a dream or something. It's like, I've never, like, gone free falling or something like that, but I kind of feel like I know exactly what that's like. And maybe I only, like, 70% know what that's like, or less, whatever. And it's completely different than what I think. But my mind has kind of, like, you know, faked that for me to a point where I can imagine it almost completely. And I think that's very fascinating and very interesting.
Honestly, the times where I've like fallen in my dream, like now that I'm thinking about it, the feeling is similar to that of like a drop on a roller coaster.
Yeah, which, you know, maybe it's like that, maybe it's not. But
I hope I don't find out.
But maybe our minds just make that because we've been on a roller coaster, and it's like, oh, this is the closest thing you know to that, so let's make you imagine that it's like that.
Yeah.
Could be like that.
Like it basically produces what you know.
Yeah. Right. But just like the interesting thing is that like it can put together things that you know in a way that you don't know. If that makes any sense to you. Like
And something else I found interesting, like, I mean, you know, it makes sense since it's the brain and it goes off of, like, what you've seen and your experiences and what you're thinking about. But, I guess sometimes there will be, like, people in my dreams that, like, to me they're just, like, random people that I've never seen before. But I remember, like, researching that, like, your brain doesn't just come up with, like, random faces. Like, they're people that you've seen before, but...
Which I don't really know how you would go about proving that. But, I mean, I guess...
I mean, that would make sense that, like, your brain can't really make up faces, like...
I guess not. I mean, you've seen so many faces in your life that, like...
It'll be like stuff that you've seen before, you just don't remember.
Yeah, right. I mean... There's millions and millions of faces you've seen in your life that mean nothing to you, and you're never gonna know who that person is or whatever. But like, I guess somewhere deep within the subconscious, that face exists. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Like, also in this dream that I mentioned of like talking to him from like a rooftop, it was like sudden. Well, actually, like, another side note is, like, another friend of mine who also isn't on good terms with this person, like, was in a janitor suit, and, like, I first see them as, like, is this some sort of joke, and then, like, passes by him, and they, like, just kind of, like, stare each other down, because these two guys, like, basically hate each other, and that happens, and suddenly it's, like, out of nowhere, like, the one that I am not fond of, I just suddenly see him like getting jumped by a group of guys in like the bathroom. I'm just like watching that. Like, that's interesting.
Which could definitely be like some sort of subconscious projection of like, I don't know, maybe you could see like maybe that person deserves that or something. I don't know, you know. Like, not to say that you think that, but I mean, maybe like, you know, you're not fond of the person, so it's like seeing that kind of gives you some level of like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna watch this happen.
Yeah, basically like, I mean, I can't say that I would do anything if I saw that in real life. So
Yeah.
Honestly, in real life, I would probably just leave and not even watch it.
Yeah, it's dreams are wild. I've always found them fascinating.
They're wild and random and weird, and things can just pop out of nowhere and not make sense, but that's just a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an awkward silence. Anything else you'd like to discuss?
I guess there's not really anything else that comes to mind right now. But I guess we could just end it right there. Call it a day. If that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine by me. I had some interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, and we'll definitely do this again at some point. So yeah, I guess we'll call that a wrap on our first Balsam podcast. And until next time.